phonemic awareness. An absolute essential element if you're going to understand how to relate a letter to a sound. You have to work out what a sound is. And you know, little children don't know what a sound is. They have to learn that. It's not something that is very apparent. Little children think a sound is a noise. A sound is what a lawnmower makes, a plane makes, a car makes. If you ask perhaps a 3 or 4-year-old, up until about those ages, what sound is at the beginning of cat, they would say meow. They hear cat, sound, meow. A cat to them is a little thing. It's a little furry thing that you pat. It's not a word, and it's certainly not a cat. So this is the mystery of phonemic awareness. And it is a mystery in the English language because of this process that we call co-articulation, which is the compression of the sounds of English. This is required for us to be able to receive this as an auditory processing event. We couldn't understand language if it came to us phoneme by phoneme. If I spoke like this, it would be impenetrable. It has to come to us in units of meaning. Co-articulation compresses the sounds, but it hides the segmental nature of language. Most people get it fairly easily, but for some children whose neurons aren't strongly connected to their phonological module, it's very, very difficult to hear that. So we have to pull those apart for them in a very explicit way. Now, in terms of phonemic awareness, there's a series of levels. It's like a hierarchy. And the first thing children have to learn before they learn what a sound is what a word is. And you do this, of course, as you read a book with a child and you point to the words. As you point to the words, gradually the understanding comes that when you translate this to that, it actually comes out in words, and there's a little space in between. Very convenient. We don't have that little space in between our oral language, so that has to be explained much more directly to children. Once children understand what a word is, you can do things like ask them to count the words in a sentence that you might say quite slowly. I asked Mummy for biscuits. A slow sentence like that starts to make a little bit more clearer that this stream of language is actually broken up into words. Once they can understand this concept of a word, they have to be able to understand that words are broken up into parts, and the next level that they understand is syllables. Words like mummy, mummy, and beating out or clapping or clicking the syllables in words. All the children's name in the classroom is a perfect way to do this. Get them to start to identify that rhythmic nature of the English language. So it's the syllabic level that comes after the word awareness. Word awareness, syllable awareness. When they can start clapping out and identifying the syllables, we then look at the within syllable sounds. And we do this by lots of rhyming activities. Use of nursery rhymes, traditional nursery rhymes, use of lots of books that have a very strong rhyming component, and there's wonderful examples of those around, builds up children's awareness of the fact that certain words rhyme. So, hat, cat, fat, mat, rat. If children can rhyme, can you see that they're actually identifying the first phoneme of a syllable? They have to be able to do that to take one sound away and put another sound in its place. So rhyming is actually the window. It's the window into phonemic awareness. So lots of rhyming activities, very, very important. Once they can rhyme, you know they're identifying that first little phoneme. And then you can do lots of activities that ask them to identify the first sound in words. You might use this with a series of picture cards. So there's a picture card of a mat and a bat and a dog. Lots of those little matching picture card sets are very useful for this. What's the first sound there? What's the first sound there? What's the first sound there? What's this word? What's the first sound? Then you start to help them direct their attention to the final sound. That's the next one, easiest one to hear within a syllable, and then the middle sound. Our middle sounds in syllables are most often vowels, A vowel can be a middle sound, it can be a beginning sound. And they're the complicating part of the English language, the hardest things to hear and the hardest things to read. All of these activities where you're directing children's attention to these separate sounds are very important to help them understand that this stream of sound that they hear can be broken up into words, can be broken up into syllables, and then can be broken up into separate sounds. And unless they get that, they're never going to be able to relate a letter to a sound. If they can't hear the sound, how can they relate a letter to the sound? So letter sound knowledge is built on phonemic awareness. So teaching kids, once they've identified these sounds, to put them together and to separate them out, so to blend and to segment, is a really good introduction to letter sound knowledge and learning the alphabetic principle.